Good morning, children. Today in English literature, we will take up lesson 15, Einstein, the scientist and the man. Before we begin the chapter, you need to know who Einstein was. So Einstein's name was Albert Einstein and he was a German-born theoretical physicist. Okay, he was born on 14th March 1879 and he died on 18th April 1955. He was widely acknowledged, he was renowned to be one of the greatest physicists of all time. Einstein is best known for developing the theory of relativity, but he also made important contributions to the theory of quantum mechanics. So this is a different subject, okay, that we will not be detailing here, but this is just for you to know about his details, okay, about him. And he educated himself from the University of Zurich, that is in Switzerland. This essay that you will be now learning, Einstein, the scientist and the man, this essay is about Albert Einstein. This essay describes some unusual, quirky habits, weird, awkward habits, strange habits or facts about the scientists. The first one is how Einstein's head was larger than usual human beings. Okay, he had a big head. If you Google his picture, you will see he has a big head. Okay, one study claimed that his parietal lobe, responsible for mathematical thought, was 15% larger than the average person's. Now, what is this parietal lobe? This parietal lobe is one of the major lobes in the brain. It is located in the brain, okay? Like we have different body parts, yes, eyes, ears, nose, kidney, liver, lungs, and those internal organs also have their other parts, all right? For example, in lungs, you will find bronchioles, trachea. Similarly, there are other parts in brain also that are responsible for processing information. So let me repeat again, the parietal lobe is one of the major lobes in the brain, roughly located at the upper part of the area. This lobe, why is it called a lobe? It is a rounded or curved projection, okay, here. That is why it is called a lobe, and it is placed in our skull, okay. It processes sensory information it receives from the outside world, mainly touch, okay, taste, temperature. So these are sensory information. Why? Because these information help you sense things around you. For example, temperature. Okay, when you touch a cube of ice, you feel cold, and that temperature is sent to your brain and again back to the nerves that is located in your fingers. Okay, this signaling is so fast, and that's how you know you are holding a cube of ice when you feel the cold temperature of ice. On the other hand, when you get burnt, when you touch something hot, again the same processing, this temperature sends signal to your brain, and your brain knows that okay, this is hot and you should not touch it. Again it tells the nerves, okay, you should leave it and throw it away. And that's how this signaling works with the help of this parietal lobe. And this is also responsible for mathematical calculations, which was 15% more in Albert Einstein's brain as compared to other average human beings. Damage to parietal lobe may lead to dysfunction in the senses, and if this lobe is damaged, there will be dysfunction in the sensory process. Okay, that is why you should never hit somebody on their head. Alright. So now we know what parietal lobe is, which is responsible for mathematical thought, was 15% larger than the average person's. Other sections talk about how he did not speak until he was 9 years old. Now 9 years old are almost grown-ups like you, okay? And it is very abnormal for us to accept that a 9-year-old cannot speak. And this was the case with Albert Einstein. He could not speak until he was 9 years old. He broke his silence with the words, "The soup is cold." This is again weird. The soup is cold. A soup is never cold. A soup is always hot. He loved the music of Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart. So these three were the musicians and he loved their music. He was also quite passionate about sailing, and sailing also mesmerized him. He was fantasized with sailing. He hated wearing socks and avoided wearing them even during the most solemn occasions. So in formal occasions also he avoided wearing socks. When we go to formal occasions we wear socks, but in here we see that Albert avoided wearing socks. Interestingly, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for his work on photoelectric effect. He was awarded with a Nobel Prize for photoelectric effect, but he was not awarded for the theory of relativity. The general theory of relativity was discovered by Albert Einstein and he was not awarded for that. He also rejected the post of president in Israel. Okay, he was offered the post of president, but he did not accept that. Here in lesson we see that here you have been given the points that I explained just now, that he had a big head, he had an enormous head, and the various scientists researched on his head, that why his head was so big as compared to usual human beings, and he also had more electrons in his brain compared to usual human beings. Secondly, he was a quiet child, he did not speak and he mumbled, his speech was not clear. And again in next point we see love for music. Yes, you see here that he loved the music of Beethoven, Bach and Mozart. Next, his other passion was about sailing. He was passionate about sailing. Followed by that, he hated wearing socks. Next is Nobel Prize. Now you see he was awarded with Nobel Prize. And lastly in 1952, when he was offered the post of president, he rejected that. Alright. So children, you please read this at home. Thank you.